Hey, I'm Mr. Kurt, and it's a new year and it's a new type of gameplay for the channel as well. Some current gen gameplay for the first time featuring Forza 5 on the Xbox One, and doesn't it look pretty? One of the prettiest games on the Xbox One, in my opinion, even though not watching it at highest fidelity, unfortunately. Didn't record it at highest fidelity, and YouTube compression takes the quality down a bit from my rendered video, but still, it looks fantastic as you can see on the screen. And in today's video, we're talking about Formula E. Who would have guessed it? So that's why I'm showing you the Spark-Renault SRT01E around Long Beach, Prague and Bathurst. And maybe another circuit right at the end of the video has Forza 5 is one of my favourite games on the Xbox One. It's a very good game, but I feel it's a bit of a step back from Forza 4 because I don't think the handling is as good. Of course, the car and track selection's a bit disappointing in comparison, particularly on the car side, because most of the cars I want to drive is DLC, and that's a bit frustrating, I can tell you. On the track side as well, we've lost Suzuka and Sonoma, but we gain the likes of, say, Long Beach, as you can see, and a proper version of the Nordschleife, so, swings and roundabouts on that side. But mainly with Forza 5, it just feels like the game is, a bit thin. There could have been a bit more to this game, and hopefully with Forza 6 they will make it a bit fatter, a bit fuller, and it will be a bit like the Forza that I wanted for 5, or wished was 5. And so yeah, that's Forza 5. It's still a good game. It's a fantastic game with the right car track combination, as you can see on the screen, and this Formula E car is one of my favourite cars to drive in the game as well. I understand it's a bit of a Marmite car, a bit like the series and championship I'm going to talk about that it's from, because you either love it or hate it. But I love my Marmite, and I love this car as well. It's a bit of a different experience to drive this car as well to most cars in the game, because you hear more of the ambulance noise than the noise that this car produces, and so you've got to be very delicate with your inputs as well into corners and out of corners as well with the throttle, and like a normal racing car. But yeah, I just really enjoy driving this car in this game, and I've really enjoyed the Formula E Championship since it has begun last year when it rolled around in Beijing. And yeah, the first round wasn't the most exciting. It's most known for Nelson Piquet Jr. batting down the order, Frank Montagnier as well, and of course Nicola Prost not knowing where Nick Heidfeld was in the last corner. But the last couple of races have just been fantastic, and it's one of my top 10 series of last season, Formula E, despite only having 3 races last year. That's how good I felt these last couple of races have been, and how it's just gone about promoting this series, and how on the social media side you got all the teams being very good, and how it's been promoted. You got live streaming on the website of practice and qualifying, and the races showing on, say, ITV over here or Fox Sports in America. But it's just been very well put together, this package, and it's much better than I thought it could have been, because when the series was announced in 2012 I was very optimistic for it, because I didn't think of what better platform was it to advance and move forward this electric technology in a short amount of time than motor racing. We've seen that in recent years with, say, hybrid technology at Le Mans, in the World Endurance Championship, in F1 in recent years with the KERS kind of units. In 2009 it was a brick, it was a stone in your car. You had to really work your packaging around. We saw it with the BMW Sauber brick they produced, and the Ferrari and the McLaren. By 2013, when everyone had it, it was like a pebble in the back of the car. You could really package around it. It could be integrated in car quite nicely, as we saw with like Red Bull using it differently to the rest of the teams, because they wanted like different balance to the rear of the car than, say, other teams, and how they achieved that. And it was just fantastic to see how advanced the KERS kind of units were in a short amount of time, in about 5 years. And so hopefully it can happen with electric technology as well in the next 5 years, and we won't have to make, say, pit stops in the middle of the races, because unfortunately cars are a bit limited at the moment of how far they can go. But hopefully, yeah, in 5 years it can have hour-long races without pit stops, and it can just be fantastic racing for an hour long out on the track. And my optimism for the championship, as you can see with 2012, it kind of lessened in 2013 when I saw the car, because I'm an IndyCar fan. This car was designed by Dallara, also the same as the DW12 in IndyCar. They look a bit similar, don't they? But like the DW12, that proved me one with how fantastic the racing has been in IndyCar. My favourite type of racing in the past few years, and the same with Formula E, how fantastic the racing has been in this series, and how it just looks like the drivers have to hustle this car around the circuit to get a good time. And we complain in F1 about, the car's too easy to drive, you don't see the drivers working. Just go to IndyCar or Formula E and you will see the drivers having to work their arse off to get a good lap time around these street circuits and to get a really competitive time in these cars. And it is just fantastic to see these drivers really hustle these cars around circuits. And as I said, Beijing came around and it has this day format, Formula E, and it's fantastic for the promoting side. You got morning, you got practice and qualifying, and in the afternoon you got the race. And in Beijing it almost worked to it. It almost went seamlessly, apart from there were a couple of cars stalled on the grid, and of course, and then you had that last lap incident. Unfortunately, TV coverage as well. You had the long camera shots when perhaps they should have been a bit shorter, and the commentary was, they're still jetting. It was their first race together. A couple of graphical glitches, but still, it was a good first event. It proved that at least this format kind of works, and this is what this year is about basically for this championship. It's a spec series. You have this car that was built by Spark Racing Technology, designed by the Lara. You got Renault as a technical partner. You got the partner. You got the McLaren power unit in the back. You got Williams providing batteries, and you have 18-inch low profile tyres provided by Michelin. You got a 5-speed gearbox, and that power unit from McLaren is similar to the one they have in the P1 car, that road car they produced. And you have all these different partners providing this car, and it seems to have produced some great racing, as this year is all about, put aside all the electric technology, put aside the green credentials. It's all about attracting the audience, and you're going to do that with the teams, the drivers, and fantastic racing. And that's what this car has produced, fantastic racing. And that, just like IndyCar has taken my heart, so has Formula E. It's become one of my favourite series, or motor racing series around. Well, motor racing in quotation marks, I guess, or racing series around. And as I said, the day format really good for promotion in city centres as well, most of these street circuits. So I believe they're mostly free tickets as well, so you get a good crowd. It seems to be a good atmosphere. I said these cars aren't the loudest, only 80 decibels, but you got the EJ providing music, and I guess there's a great atmosphere in the city. And the street circuits are really surprised me how good they've been. The one in Uruguay reminds me of Surfers Paradise in Australia. Any circuit that reminds me of Surfers Paradise in Australia gets a thumbs up with me, and I think it's a good circuit. Had the one in Malaysia, had a tight hair in the middle, and fast corners, fantastic to see. And in Beijing, even that circuit was great. It just wasn't very well presented. But from Beijing to Malaysia, all the production with the Formula E really took a step up, and you could see that there's less graphical glitches. The old one comes through, but the camera angle was much better. It really showed off how great these cars are around the circuit. It's all about the torque. They produced 200 kilowatts in the practice and qualifying, and 150 kilowatts in the race, and you get 30 kilowatts for 5 seconds due to the fan boost, where 3 drivers get voted for that little boost there. And it's a good marketing gimmick as well. Again, great promotion. I don't really agree with it, but it really does help get that series out there, along with the stream on the website, with the social media, with all the teams being great. Amlin Naguri, he's one of the best teams to follow from any motor racing series on Twitter. And yeah, it's just been great promotion. Great from Charlie Nicholas and Dario Franchitti, the commentating. And Dario Franchitti's really slotted alongside in that co-commentator seat like Martin Brundle did back in '97 alongside Mario Walker. He's really seems like a natural alongside Charlie Nicholas, who's again doing fantastic commentating on any series he does, and he's doing it again on Formula E. So yeah, you've got great crew on that world feed there, and good presenting from Nicky Shields as well. And then you have the teams and the drivers. As I said, they're one of the main draws of the championship, along with the race and all with the circuits as well. You guys have got Miami, Long Beach, you got Berlin, London, and Monte Carlo coming up for the circuit. Unfortunately, I think Hong Kong and Rio de Janeiro were meant to be next month, but now we've got that gap on the calendar. Only got 9 races, but hopefully it can be expanded to 10 races again for next season. And with the drivers, as I said, you got great variety. This is one of the biggest draws of this championship, the variety of the teams and the drivers. You've got the teams from all over the world, with Andretti in America, Venturi backed by Leonardo DiCaprio, Mahindra in India, you got Amlin Naguri, Virgin Racing, you got Trulli in Italy, and so yeah, you got this great variety amongst the teams. And then the drivers even more. It's like a race of champions every month with this calendar. You have 26 drivers that participate in this championship, and they can join at any time. That's what I love about this. They can slot in and out whenever they want, and we have particularly seen that at Andretti this season. And the top 5 of the championship, you've got a Pirelli tyre tester in the first, and he's doing what he does in normal series, it seems, Lucas Di Grassi, but just being consistent, and he's also an LMP1 Audi driver as well. We got an LMP1 world champion in second, Sebastian Buemi. Sam Bird in third, he's been run up in GP2 and drives the old endurance race. Nicola Prost in fourth, getting an LMP1 Rebellion driver. Nelson Piquet Jr., a NASCAR driver who's just recently turned to rallycross as well. And then Jerome D'Ambrosio has done more commentating, it seems, than racing in recent years, alongside Will Buxton in the GP2 commentary booth. So you got a great variety up there. You got a winemaker in 11th, a retired winemaker as well, Ignano Trilli, a retired driver at least, and who owns a team. You got Oyo Serba, a long-time IndyCar driver, in 10th. Helmi Alguersuari in 9th, who's more known as a DJ in recent years than an F1 driver, and I believe has driven in the Spanish GT Championship from what I've seen. And so yeah, you got this great variety of drivers, and then you had John Eric Verne turn up in Uruguay, blow the socks off everyone and almost win the race, but bring his luck from F1. Unfortunately, he had superb pace though. And so yeah, you can have drivers like Verne just pop in at any time and just bring some more impetus to the to the championship, and just bring more variety and just make it more exciting from round to round. And that's what you want from this series. As I said, it's all about the racing teams and drivers, and that's what we get on that front. And as I said, great promotion, as I said, with the teams, with the organisers, with the day format. Hopefully they have more races per month. That's one thing against it. Of course, the engine sound as well. Not everyone's going to love that, but you get music played over the top of it at the circuit. Again, I don't like giving points for fastest out of pole laps, but I understand that drivers might just appear for one race, and if they do well and get a fastest lap and pole, at least they get points. It's a bit like league racing, on your Xbox, when someone does well in qualifying but gets disconnected in the race, at least they get points in qualifying that they did well. And so it's just a fantastic series, and I hope it really goes forward. It's one of my favourite series at the moment. Of course, next year it doesn't become in spec. You've got loads of different manufacturers that could come in, between 6 and 8, I think the gag said, in December, that could come in next year, provide some different solutions, different ideas on how to power these cars. As I believe the shell, the Lara shell, is going to be the same for the next few years, I believe, to keep the cost down. But you have this shell, you have different ways of powering these cars, and we've seen it in, say, F1 recently, in the World Endurance Championship. It's all about powering these cars now. It's all about hybrid power. It's all about how to make these cars go, with these different technologies. And that's what it's all about. And that's why I hope this series can really advance in the next couple of years and really grow and build on what's been a fantastic, solid base for this series. But what do you think of Formula E? I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed the gameplay. I hope you enjoyed the lap at the end. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.